Good afternoon, Scott Redler, T3 Live. Welcome to today's recap. So today we had the FOMC minutes. Really nothing new. A lot of talk about tapering, when we're going to taper, what we need to hear to taper, when it's going to happen. And I think pretty much, status quo, basically, where we're going to have, some people were a little worried that it could happen in the July meeting. And then I think, after today, there was no curveballs, and it seems as if, September is going to be the earliest. And it's going to take some time before they actually start raising. And raising, they said, I think not till 2015. So ultimately, it's going to be all about, the stock action, and all about the leaders, and all about the sectors, and all about, how to approach it with the time frame that you're looking at. Because if you look at the chart of the spiders right here, you will see that all in all, nothing but pretty much it was a doji day, but really an inside day. Okay, actually, no, you can't even say an inside day. It was basically a doji day. We've drawn these lines for you so many different times. Okay, this up here was your outside day, right? Here was your downtrend when you had this, breakout failure. That's what I think the bears were hoping would happen today. Then you had this trend line break at the 50-day moving average, which was your sign to get short, get out. Then we put that pivot low in, okay, and above the 100-day we had the reflex move back up. Then we had this little wedge within a wedge, right? Remember this? I could build it as it goes. Then we closed above the 50-day. So right here, okay, for me this was a pretty compelling snapback. Here's your 4-day trade. Then from there, it had to digest and pretty much give me clues that we're going to continue higher to put some more capital to work. So with that said, you had a few days in a row where that Wednesday, remember all those problems, we opened down and went positive. So that was a sign to put some risk back on, and then this was your confirmation that we were leaving this inner wedge to potentially go to higher prices. So now you come to where we are right around this area, and we're starting to potentially stall a little bit, okay? But all in all, if you look in hindsight at what took place today, we didn't even get down to yesterday's low, okay? So if you look here, at both of them, this is today's low, and this was yesterday's low, and here's where the moving averages are, and look at the gap. That's still protected. So all in all, pretty constructive action. You take, again, the minutes out of the way, and you would say, wow, pretty damn constructive, so to speak. So with that said, maybe we need some time in here to, to digest. If we do hold in there and put in some inside days, we're going to have a lot of nice price patterns and a lot of key stocks to go with. But as of right now, I would say if you wanted to be light, be light. There's no blaring sign to be short. Okay, I know I was short. A lot of spiders had, pretty much a decent amount of positions coming in today, and now I'm going out pretty neutral and very light. So with that said, if we were to hold in here a few days, maybe come down, test this area and hold, for 3-4 sessions, perhaps, that would get me really interested to, to put some positions on, more than I've had recently, or the same amount that I had during this move or during that move, and then see if we could take out this area and then head back to the high. So I think the question that most people have in their head, okay, at least I have in my head, in my mind, I think there's really no doubt that we're going to make new highs in the year. That's in my mind, okay? I've had a few different, gun-to-head calls that pretty much all worked out very well. They were 3 for 3, just to give you market direction, what I'm feeling, my basic bias, and the 2 of them were actually to the downside, the first 2. Okay, you go back to the chart here, that was, if you remember, right here, when it looked like this inside wedge was breaking, I said, gun to, whatever, I don't want to keep saying that's such a bad visual. I think we see the 50-day before making new highs, and that's what happened here. And then right around, I believe, this area, I said I think we see the 100-day before making new highs, and we saw the 100-day, okay? And then here, I think whatever, there was another little fun call where I said I think we see 164.5 but instead of a retest, and that's what we saw. So right now, guys like, could you make another call like that? And at this point, I don't know if we're going to, if 1640 to 1642 in the SPX is going to be what holds before we make new highs, or if we need to go down and retest like 1627 to 1630. So for me, I'm kind of in the middle, neutral. But with that said, I think there'll be a lot of nice tactical action in order to to keep making cash flow until we see another more definitive pattern or setup that's compelling to, put some risk on or more risk on, to get a more meat and potatoes move. So let's just go through some stocks. Netflix. Okay, really nice breakout, first inside day. Okay, not much to do. I'd say let it base within this area for a little while, and we get another setup. Okay, nice setup was right here when it broke out. Here's your highs. Some people would like to buy the dip in here. For me, I like to wait a few sessions. Google, another leader, looking good. Another nice inside day. Okay, remember yesterday it held 897. Now you had another inside day. Give me another day or so, and I think that we'll be able to be a buyer through this area for a move to all-time highs. Setting up really nice. Amazon, best in breed. We talked about it many a times. Okay, it also, this one I think if you just own it, you just got to keep letting it go until earnings. And it's been very choppy where you see these tails here. But buying the dips here. Sorry, why do I keep hitting? Buying the dips here, has made sense. You haven't been getting much momentum through levels, so you just have to kind of sit there with less. This was a nice setup we had in off the charts, and then here is where it got choppy, but it extended. Still looks good. As far as LinkedIn, today we talked about a negative to positive move, and that's what took place. But it kind of just went wishy-washy into the close. But ultimately, setting up again. Okay, I think that this one should stay on your radar. Should be a swing trade if you have that kind of risk on. And ultimately, with a little bit more time, I think it goes again. And then obviously, we'll see the highs here, and we have to wait for earnings. Another stock that looks good, Yahoo, digested the move from yesterday. A lot of these things, you buy them on dips. It's near the highs. It looks pretty good. Nothing's changed there. Nothing blaring. As far as eBay, some people were playing it today. It's very, very sloppy, this stock, but it plays catch up when it wants to. And here is your catch up move. At this time, it's extended. I probably wouldn't be buying it up there. As far as the banks, you look at something like JP Morgan, see what it did today. The banks were weak earlier on. All in all, didn't really do much. Still constructive, flagging. So give it another day or so, and perhaps it'll make a new high. We can go with that. Lots of different, we like to trade different types of setups. And this is with day 1, 2, 3, digest, and then, we stay bullish. That's going again. Goldman Sachs was a little weaker today, but it's still hanging in there. It's still held above yesterday's little breakout move. So, inside day, digestion, laggard, but, could continue above this area to set up for a trade. Bank of America. Just the same type of thing, inside day. I don't know, my thumbs are getting in the way here today. Here was that breakout move when I got back involved. I'm still holding some. Still looks good. Let it flag here for a few more days and then go again. Let's see, Tesla, down $1 today, a little bit. A lot of times, we like to have inflection points here, and this was one of them. Here was another. Here was your test, and now it's resetting up again. So, with that said, let the 8-day catch up. Let it flag again. Every time it flags, it seems to give you a trade. If you're in it long for the long term, still looks very good. Hang in tough. But, we like to trade this when there's a power, just like a pressure cooker spot like you had here, or you had here. And now it's really just, a little sloppy, but if you want to stay with it, you stay with it. Some people were pointing out today a reversal in Intel. It's a laggard trade. If you sold it when you had this big gap down and it was pretty potent after this reversal or this outside day, maybe you had the luxury of rebuying some back as it put a little bottom tail in. Could bounce back up a little bit. Some people were pointing out some other type of moves in the semis and some of these laggards that could be playing just laggard type tactical plays, and Broadcom was strong today. It's going to have to obviously get above these moving averages to do something. There was some signs of life in this little guy, Cruz. This is just junk. But if you're not involved in it, I guess you could see a trade. And what it'll have to do is have to get above this area for that to take place. Oh, you know what happened today? That actually, was one of the good trades. Was another, it's weird. Once, you have these leaders that are extended, then people start looking around. What could go next? What could I play for 1 to 3 days? What might make a move besides the refiners that did that and the ags that did that? Baidu yesterday, we were eyeing it, and then today in the morning call, I either spoke about it or on my morning note, I said that's something that I think can go negative to positive and go through yesterday's high. And Baidu was great for some cash flow. Not a real strong stock, not a barn-burning winner, but yesterday it woke up a little bit, and then today it opened down, pushed through the previous high, and gave you a little cash flow. And now it's developing this lower pivot where, who knows, maybe it wakes up a little bit. The last time it woke up, it had a nice little move, but overall it's still broken. But if it's a setup there, you could take the setup. You know what? We talked about how broken Facebook's been, right? Facebook's been broken, last earnings, breakout failure. Then finally 2 days ago, I tweeted, I said I'm long Facebook, went long on the virtual trade floor, gave you a nice 3-day move, right? 5% in a laggard, broken stock. If you didn't suck wind and go underwater and hold it and break rules, you had a nice spot to get back involved, and that was right here, okay? It started to wake up right on this day, didn't have enough power to break through, but it was worth getting in some. Then this was your ad when it went above the 50-day. Now it's above the 200-day. So for me, I took the 3-day move. I was out of it, I think come midday, and closed pretty strong, as if, there's still some appetite for it. So if you are stuck in it or you've been holding it, and, here's a first sign of life that it's acting a little bit better, I guess. I guess you want to go from this high to here. This will be your next area that of importance, and then that's kind of where it broke down from also. So anyway, here was your breakout failure. That's pretty much when we got away from it. If you got away from it there and you didn't get frustrated and pull your hair out during this whole move, which hopefully you didn't, this nice little 3-day move is 5%. People wait all year long for 5%. People wait and then they don't even get it. Here, this is our sweet spot. This is what I like to do. I like to find something like this that you could play for 1 to 3 days and you can make 2 to 5%. And we probably find those between all our content providers, every other day. Every other day there's somewhere. Even some guys made some money in MCP today. Look at MCP. Whoa. Okay, this is putting a lot of things together here. Okay, 1 plus 1. You had a stock in a group that's been battered and bruised. Look how crushed it's been. And then, started acting a little bit better. The metals were, okay today. And then you all of a sudden had a headline this morning saying rare earth prices starting to increase as, I don't know what China did. Maybe they put a lock on some of them or who knows what. But all in all, nice volume. And, you learn how to use those tactics. And you had big volume. You had a level that it traded above. Once it got above this 6 1/4, and boom, you just made yourself more money than you could have sat in bonds all year or in a mutual fund by learning how to find this type of situation. And now that's what we call a day one. Actually yesterday was a day one. This was day 2, your confirmation, and then this will be the next spot it can get to. A lot of guys in the community were talking about it and got involved. And congrats to you. You did it. Last time it happened, didn't get much follow through. Let's see what happens this time. TBTs, also, something that I've been involved in, one of our thesis. Let me get rid of the volume here so you can see it. Last time we really talked about it being compelling was buying it into the 21-day, which is something that held during this entire move, so it made sense. On the jobs report, gapped up. Then slowly just had some inside days digesting above this big gap, and then today it closed near the highs. Still involved and still looks good, and hopefully some of you guys have it in your drawer. Gold was another erratic day, and I think you have to be very micro on it, or I don't know. It's just not easy. It's broken. It's been all these levels that we've talked about have been broken and broken and broken from. I don't want to get into it again, but just to show you the different levels. The different levels here. What am I doing? Let's just go to the weekly. Okay, here you go. Weekly chart, boom. Here was your intermediate level that it broke. Okay, this nice little wedge pattern that broke to the downside around 161. Okay, that was one way out. Then you had your other way out when it broke macro support right here. Then you had a bear flag continuation move to the downside, and now it's just trying to do it somewhat again. So if you want to micro scalp it in there, you can find some cash flow, but there's a lot of different type of fake out moves in there, so it's not really worth your time. But ultimately, people who've been shorting this has been making a lot more money than finding cute little longs in the middle. And there's been a lot of ways out, right here, right here, right there. And we've outlined each one of them, and part of the process is pulling the trigger and actually doing it versus having opinions and bugging out, because gold bugs tend to have a lot of opinions when it comes to their metals instead of following the technical rules. So all in all, I think at this time it's just you have to measure, the commitment you want to have to the market as we're in July. Everyone's taking some time off, vacations, this, that. Some people want to be involved and the market's giving you or rewarding you for holding multiple positions if that's what you want to do right now, because there's a good 15 to 25 stocks even that are acting well, making highs across the board besides these little tactical plays. So if you want to do that, that's fine. If you want to just find these little sweet spots for 1 to 3 days where it really is compelling, that's something that I've been trying to do lately because I don't feel like dealing with 10 to 15 positions because, it's been a long year and I want to make sure we come into the fall and everything's kosher. So I've been going a little bit more with tactical. Within the tactical approach, I've had, probably 2-3 days out of each week where I've had 4 to 5 positions on with the hedge. But again, I'm not going like I was in the first 6 weeks where I had 8 to 15 positions and trying to trail them and do that. I just, it's a summertime. So for me, I'm not in as much or I have a lot of things I have to do. If you're in, do it. And just because I'm not doing it doesn't mean that you can't. Okay, I'm the offensive coordinator. You're supposed to be reading off the charts, getting ideas. You like that idea, execute on it. And then in the morning, get the price point sheet, which is more specific. If you like the idea, go with it. And then you combine the morning call and the recap, and you could, use those tactics on anything that you want. Okay, sometimes I'll even tweet about things that look good, that might look good, and if I'm not in it, it doesn't mean that you can't. It just means that I have other things going on, and it's not one of the hats I feel like wearing that day. So with all that said, I do think there's a lot of movement, and we have to be thankful for that over the summer. Today we did have some type of inside digestion day that is somewhat healthy, and I didn't see anything really change in a lot of the leaders. There's no reason to be excessively bearish right now, or even, there's a lot more reason to be bullish, but you don't have to be having that much exposure. I would give it a few more days to prove that this level will hold, and then I think we'll have, a better clarity on what type of risk we want to have on. So that said, Ben Bernanke speaking, probably right now. Let's see what he has to say. Let's see what the futures do tomorrow. If we hold in there another session or so, perhaps, it'll be time to put some risk back on if you don't have it on already. So have a good night. Scott Redler, T3 Live. See you in the morning with Jill's coming in.
I'm Evan Lazarus, Chief Knowledge Officer for T3Live.com. You don't become a great trader by watching videos and taking courses. You become a great trader through live screen time. Accelerate that learning curve by tapping into the experience of seasoned professionals. Currently, we're offering 5-day free trials to each of our 4 mentoring rooms. In the mentoring rooms, we teach our strategies in the context of the live market. To sign up for a free trial, go to the T3 Live education page, fill out the form, and get started when the next trading session begins. We hope to see you in one of our mentoring rooms.
Okay, how